Howdy folks, this is BelGeode. We are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this is a chill vid. Well, in this case, this is also a preview video. No doubt you've probably seen some buzz about this aircraft online. Famous YouTubers, notable YouTubers and streamers have been showing this bad girl off. This is the brand spanking new aircraft from Cockspur. It is the Cessna Citation Mustang, otherwise known as the C510. Now, as of the time of this recording, this aircraft is not yet available for purchase. It is still in beta. So, with that having been said, first and foremost, huge thank you to Sebastian and Cockspur for allowing me the privilege of beta testing and alpha testing this aircraft, as well as the permission to show it off to you here on the channel so that you have an idea what to expect. Now, since this is a chill video, the standard disclaimers should be popping up at the bottom. Everything I do, of course, is in VR, and that's the whole point of these, is basically to evaluate the aircraft in VR, and in some cases to evaluate scenery. You will notice that we are at a custom airport. This is actually a freeware custom airport that the link will be in the video description below. We are in Honduras on Roatan Island. I think that's how you pronounce it, Roatan, or maybe it's Roatán. I don't know. We're going to go with Roatan. But yes, so we are going to be flying this baby from here in Roatan Island to the mainland on Honduras, or in Honduras, and we're going to be flying into Tegucigalpa. According to my flight plan, it's roughly around 30 or so minutes flight, but you can expect it to be longer because you know me, I like to talk a lot, and I also like to show you basically an in-depth review, or in this case preview, of the bird itself. Some of the features I will show once we have landed, but for the most part, you can see pretty much this is what you get. The Citation Mustang is one of my favorite Learjet type or bizjet type aircraft, and it's just so tiny, it's just so cool. It's one of those things that I feel like, you know, if I had, of course, the training, I would enjoy the heck out of flying. And we do have some VIPs on board that we're going to be flying into Tegucigalpa. But before we can do anything else, why don't we hop into the bird? And actually, before we hop into the bird, let's check out the external cameras. There's not that many, but I did help Cockspur as far as tweaking the cameras, so I'll show you what they look like, because I know some of you are also YouTubers and you like these static cinematic shots. So let's take a look. All right, so you got your standard behind the aircraft view, and I love the fact that Microsoft Flight Simulator decided to just pop a Corsair right there. It's trying to remind me of something. It's been a while since I've shown a Corsair on the channel, and that's actually how I started doing the whole chill vid thing, where there's very low editing and just me flying. So I may have to hop in the Corsair at some point in time. All right, but there you go, pretty standard. You know, not much I can really say about this view, except it's one of my favorite views. And then we've got the port side view, port wing view, so you can see a pretty good look at the left side of the aircraft. It's pretty neat. We've got a matching view for the right. So this would be our starboard wing view. I love the fact that it's a little bit lower down, and if you look real close, you can see some people inside the cabin looking out. That's a nice little touch there. There you go. And then finally, last but most certainly not least, the infamous BelGeode landing cam. Yay, I love this one. Absolutely love this one. Nothing better than when you're coming in on approach, just to go to this camera, get the gear out. Yeah, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right, now we're going to hop inside. Okay, so you may notice that I started in the back. No, that is not an error. I actually physically moved my camera in order to start here. The reason why, I want to be able to close the door. So we just need to click on that, and you can see the little ladder comes up and the door locks, and we are good to go. So now we can head into the cockpit. But before we do that, let me turn around in my seat physically, and you can see our lovely passengers in the back here. You can assign each passenger as in whether or not you can visibly see them or not. Typically, there are 4 that you can pick from. I don't know if Cockspur has added their weights in there automatically whenever you make them visible, but that was something that I asked them to do. Usually, I will take the guy in the seat out so that way I can sit in that seat because that's actually my favorite seat to sit in. Even in real life, if I were in any aircraft in real life, I'm always sitting in the back left. So there you go. Love it. Love it. And of course they are static, but whatevs. Not going to complain too much. I'm just glad there's people in here because that helps immersions when I'm in VR. Speaking of people, got our lovely co-pilot Kara. Good morning, Kara. I see you've been getting us prepped here. So we'll just hop into the seat. And the first thing I'm going to call your attention to is little what I call iPhone over here. It is kind of tiny. If you're in VR, just be cautioned. It is really tiny. The on-off button is on the side, and hitting it, especially with the mouse, can get a little tricky. It is there, though. You can hit it. I just can't seem to find it right now in VR. But suffice to say, you'll notice that we've got some options on it. We can turn the chocks on or off. Engine covers on or off, pitot heat or pitot covers on and off, red carpet, which I will show you when we land, co-pilot, of course, on, always on, for me anyway, and passengers 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it'll tell you which passenger is which. We could also open up the cargo, which I'm not going to do because we're getting ready to start. Speaking of which, this is a Cessna, which means it is relatively easy to start. You don't have to worry too much about all the usual stuff that you would if you were in, say, an airliner or whatnot. There's, certain checklists that you can follow. And even though I'm not 100% certain if the checklists are incorporated into Microsoft Flight Simulator, there will be, of course, a manual that will have a checklist in there to teach you how to start it. But I'm here to show you how easy it is. So first things first, we're going to need electricity. So we'll hit our battery switch there. There we go. That turns on both my batteries and my generators. We will need avionics, so let's flip the avionics master switch on. We'll also get the standby instruments on. And while I'm waiting for everything to fire up here, we will turn on our nav lights as well as our beacon lights. The passenger safety seatbelt switch is inoperative. I have asked Cockspur if they can activate that. I know it's not 100% necessary for aircraft function, but it's kind of cool to have. Panel lighting. Panel lighting is in process of being implemented, and it looks like he did. Okay, sweet. So we do have that all set up. Environmental stuff, as far as I'm concerned, nothing works on there. The ELT does, but that's about it. But that's all right. Not going to worry too much about it. All right, so let's get this set up here. Everything that you're seeing here as far as the gauges, pretty much default. Your G1000 setup. This part here, the engine gauges, that's all custom, however. That's tailored specifically for this aircraft. And while we're on the subject, I'm going to zoom this in a little bit here. Provided I can hit it. And that's zooming it out. Okay. The reason why I like to zoom it in is that way I can see the taxiways and so on. All right, what do we have here? Caution and warning. It doesn't really tell me what the problem is, but that's all right. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get everything started up. So the very first thing that we want to do is let's go ahead and get our fuel pumps both set to norm. We'll get our ignitions on. And I believe that is everything that we need to do. There's not too much prep work required for this aircraft. We're just going to need to start the engines now. So once that happens, more than likely Kara will call for us to get pushed back. But to start the engine is real simple. You just hit the starter button here. And of course, you watch your gauges. After a few seconds, you're going to want to hit the little button there on the throttle, which will pull us from cutoff to idle. waiting for everything to come up.
Ground, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo.
Okay, everything's rising.
November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo.
Set up our CDI while I'm thinking about it. All right, Kara. Okay, let's start engine 2 while we're working on this here and waiting for our guy to get into position. The audio is a work in progress. I'm not sure if these are the final sounds that we have received just yet. I want to say no, however. And let's get engine number 2 up. So we can check our N1
Ground,
and
November
our
70,
ITT.
Alpha Golf Bravo, requesting the end of pushback.
Everything looks good.
November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, request to end pushback received.
Sweet. All right, let's get the parking brakes back on.
Ground, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, with Charlie request taxi for takeoff east departure. November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, taxi 2, and hold short of runway 07 using taxiway.
Parking brake is on, that's why.
118.1 when ready. Taxiing, hold short runway 07 using taxiway Alpha Golf Bravo.
Okay, even though this is a bizjet and we can go upwards of like 30, 40,000 feet, we're not going to need to climb that high because it's only a 30-minute flight. We just need to be high enough to get over the mountains on our way into Tegucigalpa. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set our cruise altitude to roughly about 18 or 19,000 feet. Or actually, you know what? No, let's go even lower than that. Let's go even lower than that. We're going to set it to 14,000 feet. So pretty low level flight, relatively speaking, and hopefully that should be good. Altimeter is set at 29.86. And we know that our runway is going to be runway 7. So let me just set that on the heading bug to 070. Okay, everything looks good there. We'll go ahead and get our taxi lights on. This is a 3-way switch, so we'll put it to the middle position there. We'll also get our anti-skid on. We'll not worry about the pitot heat or anything until we are ready to take off. And since we are going to runway 7, this means we're going to need to taxi off in that direction and then make a U-turn and come in. So, Kara, let me put myself more comfortably in my seat here. There we go. And all of our passengers are good. We're going to set flaps 1. There we go. We can always look outside and see. Yep, looks like flaps are down. All right, pretty decent stuff. Okay, and we're going to go to the outside view as we taxi out. Now remember, this is a chill video, so there's very little editing, which means you will be with me throughout the back taxi here. All right, but let's go ahead and park it right here.
Roatan Tower, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, at runway 07, ready for departure to the east.
While she's doing that, I will get us set up. 072 at 8, got it.
Cleared for takeoff runway 07.
Okay. Let's get our pitot heat on.
Takeoff runway 07 Alpha Golf Bravo.
All right, pitot heat is on. Everything's looking good. I'm liking it. I am liking it. So you're going to find this thing takes off like a rocket ship. It's got a lot of power to it, and she will climb with the best of them. So, like anything else with a lot of power, you got to make sure you're watching your numbers. And make sure you are applying judicious throttle, as it were. That ship, incidentally, you're seeing off in the distance, that comes with the scenery. So, again, like I said, this is freeware. I want to say this is probably the first scenery that was created by the college student that did this. Apparently, they spent a good amount of time here in Roatan Island and decided to update the island and its airport. And of course, they did a really good job. One thing I know this island is famous for, if you are a diver, a scuba diver, this is one of those idyllic spots that you can go reef diving and so on and so forth. There's some really beautiful reefs off the shore here. I have never been here in real life, but I have seen pictures of it, and from what I'm seeing, it looks really freaking good. All right, let me do a quick scan, make sure everything is okay. Put our throttles back to idle so we're not going too fast. We'll check our temperature. Temperature is a little high, but other than that, we're looking okay. And I'm also going to trim us up just a touch here. You'll find this thing likes to jump in the air. Now the real question is, can I make a U-turn here without hitting the little approach light trees or the fence? That's going to be the true test of my skill. Let's give it all the left rudder. Ground handling is not bad at all, but she does need a lot of rudder to make those really sharp turns. It's not a Navy jet, that is for sure. But it looks like we made it. No issues. Alright, so this is going to happen really fast, and after we take off, I am almost immediately going to put on the autopilot because we're going to need to make a grand U-turn to the right. So, we'll go ahead and line ourselves up here. And I am going to put the external camera view on the lower camera, so let's just switch to that real quick. Okay, we are ready to rock and roll. So, you know what it's time for, folks. Brakes down, throttles up. I noticed what appears to be a discrepancy with the throttle throw there. It seems to be going down instead of going up. I'm not sure what's up with that, but we're going to put it to climb power. And we'll put it to takeoff power. And here we go. Now remember, this is going to happen really quickly. Try to stay on the center line there, Bell. And pull up. Okay, let's go to outside view and get the gear up. Okay, everything is looking good with the exception of the caution warning light we've got there. But I think I know why that's on. That's because I don't have my yaw damper on, so
Roatan
let's go
Tower,
ahead and turn
November
that on.
70, Alpha Golf, Bravo frequency change.
And we are
Approach
climbing at a rate of
November 70,
1900.
Alpha Golf Bravo is type 3 miles northeast of Roatan, 2,300 feet.
We're going to set that to
Request flight
1800.
following.
So we're going to go VS.
Alpha Golf Bravo approach. Squawk 6521. Squawk 6521 Alpha Golf Bravo.
Okay, there we go. And now we can zoom this out.
Alpha Golf Bravo radar contact 4 miles northeast of Roatan, 3,000 feet. Altimeter 29.86.
Sounds good to me. Okay, landing lights
Roger,
can go
Alpha
off.
Golf Bravo.
Everything else can stay on. That's pretty much it. That's it for our cleanup process. We are looking good. We're getting a fair amount of speed.
Delta traffic is 9 o'clock 4 miles at 3,800 feet.
Oh, look at that.
Report them in sight.
I think they're talking about us, and that's the aircraft that's being called
Bravo
out.
traffic is 9 o'clock 4 miles at 300 feet Cessna 152. Report them in sight.
I got him, Kara.
Alpha Golf Bravo traffic in sight.
All right. So that's the Cessna, huh?
Kilo Lima Delta traffic in sight.
Sweet. What a nice looking island. This is really cool. Gotta say, I'm quite impressed. All right, looks like we're beginning the UE, so we'll go back to the outside view. One thing I will say, she is pretty snappy on the roll there. She seems to handle the autopilot capabilities very, very well, and this pleases me. In fact, the overall flight model is pretty cool. From what I hear, there are some quirks with this bird, like the nose-down tendency that she sometimes has, but I think everything is modeled to a very good degree, and if I am correct in saying I believe that Cockspur also has real-life pilots of this aircraft on board to help fine-tune things as it gets into the final legs of its beta stage. Bear in mind, being a beta, everything is subject to change, and I definitely do not have an ETA as to when this aircraft will be released. I can, however, say that once it is released, I will update the link in the video description below. So if you're watching this past that time, you will be able to find the link and then just get it yourself there. All right, we are 7,500 feet, and the aircraft wants to come down a little bit, so that means our rate of climb is a little too high. I'm going to put it down to about 1,200 feet per minute as we come into this turn here and head towards mainland Honduras. And that should take us up closer to 14,000 feet. Now let me just set up my PFD here, because there's certain things I like to have on my PFD. So wind, for example, I like to see what the winds are. So there we go. That pops that on there. And let's set up bearing 1. We'll set that to GPS. Bearing 2, we'll just set that to nav 1. I'm not 100% certain if we're going to be coming in on an ILS approach. I want to say no. It's probably going to be visual since there are mountains into Tegucigalpa. It is one of the most dangerous airports in the world. So we're going to want to do this manually pretty much. But other than that, yeah, it does look like everything is pretty cool.
Contact Central America Center on 123.9er. Good day.
How are we doing as far as temps?
123.9er for Alpha Golf Bravo.
We are a little high. We are
Central America
definitely
Center,
running a
November
little high.
70 Alpha Golf Bravo 9,100 feet. November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, Central America Center altimeter 29.85. Continue to Kenzo as planned.
Okay, let's change our altimeter. And I am going to change us again as far as our rate of climb from 1200 to about 900 feet per minute. And we're going to pull back the throttle just a touch and we'll put it into cruise mode. Okay, so we're at 1000 there, 900. Okay, that'll allow us to keep our speed somewhat as we pull the power back and make sure that the ITT goes back into the green. So there we go. We should be able to climb like this. In fact, I may even lower our rate of ascent even further. There we go, 700 feet per minute. We're just over 10,000 feet and we are crossing the Gulf of Mexico now. You can see Honduras somewhat off in the distance there, but obviously, yeah, we got a lot of clouds this morning. But we'll say goodbye to Roatán. And in fact, we'll probably go back to the outside view and just do the once around the aircraft as we sail away from this idyllic tropical paradise. Okay, let's see how far we've got till our next waypoint. So 8.8 nautical miles away, and that is, what is that, Kenzo, I think? Let's check the flight plan. And we can do that by going to the central pedestal here and clicking on FPL. Yes, Kenzo is what we're looking for. After Kenzo, we are going to hit the VOR BTO, which should be surrounding the airport that I originally had us set up for. That was where we were going to take off from. I quickly changed my mind, however, because as you're going to see, once we get to that airport, after you take off, you have to make a hard left to get to Tegucigalpa, and unfortunately, there are some mountains in the way, and there is no way in heck, even though this thing can climb like a rocket ship, there was no way I was going to play chicken with mountains. So we erred on the side of caution and went to the surprisingly beautiful Roatán. And I think that was our safer bet, because if I would have tried coming over those mountains, yeah, let me put it this way. The first time that I tried this flight, when I was originally planning this episode out, it was not pretty. That's all I will say. I'm pretty sure all of my passengers ended up spending some time with a barf bag. We'll just leave it at that. This aircraft is not meant to be a fighter jet, That is all I will say. All right, but let's see what kind of altitudes and times we are looking at here. So Vocas is going to be the main waypoint after we get to the BTO VOR. At that point, we're going to be at about 14,000 feet. As you can see, we're just over 12,000, almost to 13,000 right now, so we're almost at our cruise. Once we pass Vocas, I am going to set us up for a descent, and we're probably going to try and stick to what you see there for our elevations and altitudes. So TG023, which should be our first transition waypoint into the approach, we're going to want to be about 8,600 feet. TG012, 7,000 feet. TNT07, about 5,100 feet. And then 4,700 for SD02, and then finally landing at Mike Hotel Tango Golf. Elevation 3,268 feet. So not only do we have an airport where we've got a lot of mountains surrounding it, the airport itself is 3,000 feet above sea level. That's going to get interesting. Thankfully, it's not much taller than that. I know this is the High Sierra livery, so you would think that it is well used to being in the mountains, but yeah, you also got a pilot who is not fully versed on this aircraft. All right, looks like she's coming down to 500 feet per minute, so we'll help her out here. We're gonna go 400 feet per minute, and for the last 1,000 feet, that should do us good. Very nice, very nice. So we're sipping gas right now. Everything is looking great, and we're just about to switch to our next waypoint. Go ahead and turn the flight planner off. Zoom this out a little bit more. There you can see our flight plan. In fact, I'm going to zoom it out as far as it'll go here. So the longest leg is yet to come after we pass Vocas. The long leg leading into Tegucigalpa is going to be next. That's going to be interesting. This is the airport that I was originally going to take off from, MHLC. I forget what the actual name of it is. I'll have it pop up right now in the little pop-up below. But that was going to be our original takeoff location. But as you can see, if you follow the colors there, we got mountains just to the south, and it was not pretty at all. So I'm kind of glad we're doing it this way. Okay, looks like we are at cruise, and we are getting really close to the coastline. So once again, we are going to go back to the outside view, and once we are done messing around with the outside view, I am going to put myself in the back of the cabin. Kara, it will be your aircraft to control at that point in time. And we're just going to have a little conversation. But first, we'll go outside.
Cessna Hotel Romeo, Kilo Lima Delta, 200 feet.
After they finish chatting.
Cessna Hotel Romeo, Kilo Lima Delta, Central America Center Altimeter, 29.83, continue as planned.
Okay, so that was fun with external cameras. I love it. I love it. All right, looks like we are on course, so let me just get a quick check as to our times and distance. So we've got 31 nautical miles until we reach Bocas. That translates to about 9 or so minutes. So now would be a great time for us to go to the back. So Kara, this is your bird. You fly it. Well, you and the autopilot anyway. All right, so let's make our way to the back and we chit-chat with our lovely passengers here. All right. Now, here's something that I would like to see. And this is not necessarily directed at the developer themselves, because I know every developer is different. Every developer has things that they prefer to do as far as 3D modeling. What I would love to see, whether from Asobo or...
for Alpha Golf Bravo.
Thank you, Kara. Whether from Asobo... Oh, come on, Kara.
14,000 feet.
We'll wait till she's finished.
Alpha Golf Bravo LaCeiba approach altimeter 29.83. Continue as planned.
Meantime, I'm going to close this window here just because I can. All right, so as I was saying, let's take that all over again. So 3D models, what I would love to see, whether from Asobo or from a dedicated third-party developer, I would like to see, say, for example, the system that has animated Kara up in the front be utilized for passengers.
Central America Center on 123.9.
Oh boy, here we go again.
123.9 for Alpha Golf Bravo.
Now, why would I want to have something like that in an aircraft such as this?
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, Central America Center altimeter 29.83. Continue as planned.
Okay, if that keeps happening, we're going to change altitude because it sounds like we're on the border here. Yep, we are definitely on the border there. Okay.
128.9 Alpha Golf Bravo.
I'll be right back, ladies. I need to put us up to like
November
15,000 feet or
Alpha
something.
Golf Bravo, 14,000 feet.
Yeah, that's going to change.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo LaCeiba approach altimeter 29.83. Continue as planned.
VS going up. Alright, the reason why I am doing that is because I really hate being interrupted, and it sounds like we are just about at the border of the airspace, so it's just going to keep switching us back and forth.
Alpha Golf
So,
Bravo contact
there we go.
Central America Center on 123.9. Good day.
Kara, if they keep harassing you, just change the damn station.
123.9 Alpha Golf Bravo.
Sheesh. Tell them I'm trying to record here.
America Center, November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, 14,200 feet.
I'm going to take out the tables while we're at it here.
Central America Center altimeter 29.84. Continue as planned.
There's one. There's two. I notice the mouse cursors are a little bit fidgety lately. I'm not quite sure what's causing that. But obviously you can lower sun visor. Ooh, that's interesting. I've never noticed that before. When did that get there? Huh. Well, beta is beta. Let's see if any of the other sun visors have it. No, it looks like those are all okay, so I guess it's just that window. We know it's not this one. That one's all right. And what about our little window back here? Nope, this is fine. Okay. So, to the developer, obviously we got an issue with that window right there that may need to be addressed. Alright, but yeah, textures, everything is really cool, but getting back to the whole 3D model thing, why I think that would be a good idea, I mean, Asobo spent the time, obviously, to give us the human models. We need more modularity with them. We need for developers to be able to utilize, you know, an expanded version of the human model. So instead of just options like Kara or the model that I use for myself, give us more humans to pick from. Different types of humans. And that way, You know, we can put them in the cockpit or we can put them in the cabin. In an aircraft such as this, it would be ideal to be able to have moving people in the cabin. And I know I'm just stretching here because not everybody's going to care for a feature like that. But for someone like myself who, you know, I greatly get into the immersion of it, that would be really cool to see everything have like the same baseline quality in textures and 3D modeling. So if Asobo wants to push that, that is great. If another third party out there decides to delve deep into the human models that Asobo is using to find a way to give us an expanded pack, as it were, that would be even better. I would love you forever for that. So that's my rant for the day. Sorry for the interruption by ATC. I'm going to go look out the window here. See, this is why I love flying in aircraft like this, where the engine's right there. You can see everything. Although it might not necessarily be a good idea if we had like a bird strike. Not that we would have a bird strike up this high, but you know what I mean. When the 717 used to be a thing, I used to love having this seat. One of the loudest seats on the aircraft, but definitely, for me, one of the coolest seats on the aircraft. Right over the wing and just in front of the engine. You get to watch it spool up and spool down. Everything's just cool about it. Alright, but as you can see, the beautiful country of Honduras is down below. And judging from all this cloud cover that seems to be getting more and more intense as we get south, something tells me Tegucigalpa is going to be a really interesting approach. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I do know that it is in what is essentially a bowl. So it's surrounded by mountains, and it doesn't matter which way you approach this airport from, whether the north or the south, you are going to have to contend with the mountains and then dip into the bowl in order to land at the airport. That's what makes this thing so challenging. Not to mention the fact that with this particular airport, we don't have much margin for error. I don't know why they decided to make the runway north to south. You would think with the mountain valleys running east to west that the runway would probably mirror that, just to create kind of like a wind tunnel, as it were. Not so in the case of Tegucigalpa, so I don't know what the story is on that. But if you ladies will excuse me, I will leave you to your cloud gazing, and I'm going to head back up front to go harass Kara some more. We'll see if we made it to Angels 15 or 15,000 feet. Hi, Kara. I'm back. You missed me? Ah, look. We are at 15,000 feet. Okay, so Vocas. We are finally at that waypoint. I'm going to check to see how long it's going to tell us before we reach the first of our transition waypoints, and then we'll set up our descent profile and figure out how low we're going to want to go. Let's refer back to the flight plan. Flight plan says at TG023, which we're about to pass in about 1 minute and 30 seconds, or we're about to begin the leg, we need to be at 8650 feet. Okay. So I think what I can do is I can actually set this up ahead of time. You'll notice we're buffeting around a little bit. This is a small bird. She does get affected by the winds. That's a thing. That does happen. I'm going to set my barometer though. We're at 29.902, which means we are past transition altitude. Sounds about right. We're not in the US. I know in the US it is 18,000 feet. It's transition altitude. That's when you set standard barometer, but around the rest of the world, it does tend to vary. So I'm okay with this for now until the tower says otherwise. All right, 37 seconds until we pass Vocas. And just to kind of give you an idea where we're going, if you see where the flight director is pointing us to, there is a mountain range there. On the other side of that mountain range is going to be the valley where Tegucigalpa is. So that's what we're looking at. We've got about 62 miles with which to come down to about 8,000 feet. So we're not going to begin our descent just yet. We'll wait till we get about 30 or so miles out, and then we'll go ahead and get ourselves down. All right, in the meantime, we're Get rid of the flight plan there, and I want to zoom this out a little bit so that I can see some more. Okay, so this is our area where the airport is. This is one long run. We're going to be coming into the north by northeast, so that means we'll need to make a U-turn and come in the opposite direction, which is going to get really fun. All right, I need a break from talking, so I'm going to go to the outside view and we'll give you some more of beautiful Honduras. Okay, and we are back. Let's see what distance we're looking at. 14 minutes, 47 miles. We're still set up for 8,600 feet, which is where we need to be once we get to TG0, what was it, 23, 24? Check the flight plan again. Three. I was right the first time. Okay, follow your gut, Bell. Yeah, so far I gotta say I'm really enjoying this bird. The alpha test was interesting due to the fact that, you know, there was a lot of stuff that wasn't quite right. Wasn't quite ready for prime time, as it were, but everything I gotta say, I gotta put it this way. This developer is so responsive when it comes to feedback and implementing feedback. The guy never takes a break. Personal story, I'm probably sure he doesn't want me to share, but I'm going to share it anyway. So he had to replace one of his monitors. That is physically the only time that he's been able to take a break in making this aircraft, is while waiting for the new monitor to show up. Other than that, he's been working round the clock nonstop and been doing a phenomenal job getting this bird ready for you. I really do think that this puppy is just about ready for prime time. There's going to be some final tweaks, of course, that are going to be needed, and of course everything's subject to change once the subject matter experts actually chime in on the product, which they have already started doing. But yeah, if you're looking for a bizjet that's easy to fly and, you know, pretty easy to handle, this one is definitely going to be a contender. And I know it does have to compete with the likes of the default CRJ or CJ4, whatever it is. And of course, it also has to compete with things like the Honda Jet, and even the one that I showed you last on the channel, the Lear fan, Bill Lear's prop slash jet bird there. Do I think it is a worthy competitor? Heck yeah. Just judging from everything that I've experienced so far throughout the alpha and beta process, yes, this one is definitely going to be worth it. And it's probably going to be even cheaper than most of the other ones that are out there right now. So that is something to consider as well. And not only that, but I can tell you as an exclusive VR user, because I know a lot of us really do care about this, performance-wise, this thing is top-notch. The performance is out of this world. I absolutely love the fact that I've got no stuttering, no jittering, no lost FPS. Everything just feels so fine in the cockpit of this bird. And that is saying a lot, because typically whenever we have glass cockpits, usually that tends to eat up a little bit more resources on average birds. Not so with this one. I can actually say, just comparing it to, say, the Honda Jet and the Lear fan, this BizJet performs in VR so much better than both of those. And that is saying a lot, because I also do enjoy both of those aircraft that I have shown on the channel before. So yeah, there you go. There is my unsolicited endorsement right there. I know it is a preview video and not a review video, so I generally try to shy away from ratings and stuff like that when it comes to things like this. I just want to fly the bird and show you what it's like. But I can definitely say this one will be worth the time, effort, and money to pick it up once it does become available. I really am impressed and proud with what Cockspur has done with this aircraft, as well as their previous aircraft, the Aeropract, which, by the way, I'm still getting comments on. So thank you, those of you who are still commenting on it. And I do notice that there's a fair number of real-world pilots of the aircraft that are commenting on the video. So I appreciate your guys' input. Alright, but we do need to start thinking about coming down. It is about 32 miles away from TG023 and about 9 minutes to go, so I'm thinking that would be a pretty good time to start bringing her in. We're currently at a speed of 151, that's indicated airspeed. True airspeed is 194, so we're definitely coming in a bit fast. We're going to set up our VS and begin a nice gradual descent. We'll start at about 400 feet per minute. And since we know that the airspeed is going to creep up, we're going to pull the throttle back just a touch. We can always run with the N1 display here just to kind of get an idea as to what everything's looking like. So we're going to set it to about 65. So you can see at the very top left gauge there, it says 65 on both sides. That's what we're looking for. And that should keep our airspeed roughly around 150 indicated as we start coming down. Now I am going to change our rate of descent. So instead of 400, we're now going to slip it down to 700. And we're going to keep incrementally changing it until we get into the 8,000 range. I'll allow it, Kara. Go ahead.
124 decimal tree for Alpha Golf Bravo. Central
Look at
America
those clouds.
Center, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, 14,600 feet.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, Central America Center altimeter 29.907. Continue to TT023 as planned.
Okay, sounds like a plan to me. I love the terrain here. I've got to say, this is one part of the world that even though we have not had any kind of world update for, except of course for Tegucigalpa Airport, that is one of the premium airports that you get if you get one of the higher packages, one of the custom handmade airports, as Sobo likes to call it. For an area that doesn't have any kind of world update to it, this is really not bad looking. This is somewhat convincing. This kind of does look like how I would expect Honduras to look. Bear in mind, I've never been there, but remember, I am from the tropics, so I kind of know what tropics should look like, especially when they've got mountains and clouds and whatnot. This is a fairly good representation of it. I would still like to see a world update address Central and South America at some point in time. I'm pretty sure that would be awesome, but I'm not sure how they're going to pull it off, considering the fact that the satellite imagery for areas other than quote-unquote the first world isn't all that great, which kind of sucks, but that is the world that we live in, apparently. But yes, I would love to see areas like this get a little bit more love. Hopefully they will, but I am at least glad that they did Tegucigalpa, because that is a good counterpoint to the Roatan freeware that we took off from. So I'm okay with that. I will accept that. Alright, let me zoom this in. Okay, there we go. Now, incidentally, I believe for our next video, Carinado just came out with the Beach V35, or the V-Twin, also known affectionately as the Doctor Killer. More than likely, you're going to be seeing that. And that I have had a request to make a chill vid. So we will not do a full production vid, even though full production vids are usually what I will do for something that has already been released. But we're going to do things a little differently. We're going to do it as a chill vid this time. So, assuming that everything works out with my technology and my work schedule and everything else, there is a real possibility that you may be seeing 2 videos out of me within the span of a week. Hopefully. But I'm not going to interrupt my Skyrim VR on Skyrim Sunday, because those have already been uploaded. So, yeah, there is that. But yeah, look forward to that. You'll be seeing the Beechcraft coming soon. I absolutely love the Beechcraft V. It is my second favorite GA aircraft. No need to guess what the first favorite GA aircraft is, because Carinado makes it also, and you've already seen it on this channel. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'll give you the hints. It's the Cessna Skymaster.
126.7 for Alpha Golf Bravo.
Alright, I'm going to bring us down to about
Approach
1,100 feet per minute.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, 12,400 feet.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, approach altimeter 29.907. Continue to TT023 as planned.
And we'll lower our throttle to about 60. There we go, right about there is good. So I'm not putting the throttle at idle because I do want to maintain a good amount of speed, so that way it'll shorten up our approach a little bit. Since I know what our altitudes are supposed to be, that'll help us as far as coming in. Plus I have had time to try my luck coming into this airport, so I kind of have an idea of what to expect terrain-wise to bring it in. Make no bones about it, though. There is a reason why they say Tegucigalpa is one of the harder airports to approach into. That bold, though. with the mountains around it. You can't even see the city. If you're traveling south like we are right now, you can't even see the city or the airport because of the fact that there's mountains in the way. It's just you get over the lip of the mountain and boom, there it is. There's the city and there's the airport in less than 10 miles. So you better be Johnny on the spot with it. It's kind of like coming into San Diego if you're coming in from over the mountains. It's that tricky. It is that tricky. Or another good one to describe it, you're familiar with Aspen, K-A-S-E. It's like that. It's like coming into Aspen, where you really have very little margin for error. You've got mountains on all sides. You've got an airport that's at elevation. And if you mess up, well, let's just say go around isn't necessarily one of those things that they look too kindly upon. So yeah, we'll try not to mess this up, is what I'm saying here. All right, so what are we looking at here? 10,000 feet. I know this is not an airliner, but I'm going to go ahead and turn my landing lights on once we pass through 10,000 feet. Only because I am notorious for forgetting my landing lights. So yeah, we're going to nip that in the bud right there. We haven't had to use our anti-ice. We are in Honduras in the tropics, and looks like we may pass through most of these clouds without any incident, or at least pass by the clouds. Yeah, I'm feeling good about that. Alright, so we are at 9,000. Let me check my flight plan and reference our next altitude. Okay, we are looking for 7050. Wait, is that 7050 or 7850? It is 7050. Okay, so we're going to make it 7,000 then. Alright, and we are at 8.6. 4 miles to go. Yeah, let's make it 7,000. We're going to keep doing that. We're playing beat the clock with our altimeter. And as long as I know that we're passing through the required altitude once we get there, see we've got less than a minute, and we're at about 9,000. So yes, we will definitely be at about 8,600 by the time we eat up this minute. I'm going to zoom this in a little further. There we go. Alright, and this is going to swing us out to the right. Now this thing does have speed brakes. It does have spoilers. So if you find that you're coming in a little bit too much like a fighter jet, you can put out your speed brakes. They're really hard to see. They're little tiny rectangles on the upper and I believe also lower wing of each wing, of course. But yeah, hopefully we won't use them on this flight. We should be able to go through this without having to do that. Alright, real quick, we're going to go to the outside view external bottom camera, and we are going to check out the scenery as we come in. Needless to say, folks, welcome to the beautiful city of Tegucigalpa. Our airport is roughly around 10 o'clock position, just about 9 o'clock position. Don't know if you can see it, but let me give you a frame of reference. You see where the iPhone is? Draw an imaginary line directly above the iPhone. And now you can see a flashing light over there. Or at least you could for a couple of seconds there. That's our airport. That's where we're coming in. Alright, so since we are coming in, let's work on getting ourselves down to the next elevation. We're going to keep it right here at 7,000, so we'll wait for the autopilot to do its thing, because as you may have noticed, there is a mountain in our way, and we don't want to go any lower than 7,000. Technically, they said 7050, but I think we'll be fine like here. And this is going to happen pretty quickly, so we're probably going to need to come off the throttle some more. I'm going to set it to about 55. We'll go to 50. Half throttles. There we go. Okay, so we are now making our next turn to TNT 7.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo is 5 miles west, 7,000 feet with Oscar to land.
We need to be at 5,100 feet.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, Tonkinson Tower. Altimeter 29er.9er, wind 006 at 12.
Ooh,
Enter
wow.
right base, runway 02.
Wait, right base?
Make
There's no
right
way in
base
hell we're
runway
coming in right
02
base.
Alpha Golf Bravo.
I'm sorry, that is not going to happen, Tower. You're on crack if you think we're going to do right base. Alright, 400 feet per minute descent. So, as soon as the mouse cursor will get the heck out of my way. What is going on with this mouse cursor? Developer, if you could, talk with me here. I need to figure out what's up with this mouse cursor. Do you have your boundaries a little too tight? I'm thinking that may be the case, because that wasn't an issue before with this mouse cursor, but now it's literally in my face. Not sure how I feel about that. May need a little tweaking. Alright, but we are just about getting ready to come in, so here's what's going to happen, folks. If you will notice, there is a whole lot of fog in the way here, which from my understanding is pretty commonplace here in Tegucigalpa. We are just south of Tegucigalpa right now, but we're going to need to make a pretty sharp U-turn, as you can see there on our nifty little GPS. So I'm trying to keep our speed low, and we are going to drop our gear and our flaps once we pass this little lake that we're approaching here. Now there's also going to be a mountain that has a whole bunch of windmills atop it. That's what we're looking for as far as our turnaround. So we're going to turn around right at that point. I'm still keeping the aircraft on autopilot, and once we have lined up for the runway is when I will think about turning off the autopilot and getting us ready to land. But for now, since we're about to cross over the lake, let's go ahead and get the gear and the flaps down. So you may have noticed, if you were eagle-eared, that I had to increase the throttle, because as we get the gear down and the flaps down, as I mentioned, this aircraft tends to have a nose-down tendency. And even though we are on autopilot, we also don't want to be too low in the throttle, because that can create a problem. We're trying to approach and land here. We're not trying to fall out of the sky, so we're going to do it the nice and safe way. I know it's not the best way for you all to fly, especially any Sparkies in the audience. This is probably a maneuver that you would not necessarily want to do because it's a little too safe. But for me, I am not here for the shenanigans today, not in this aircraft. This aircraft does not deserve any shenanigans. Unless, of course, we go missed approach and I decide to do a tactical descent. That's a whole other story. But yeah, we want to make sure that we try to fly this thing somewhat realistically. I am, of course, no BizJet pilot, so yeah, this is about as good as it's going to get on this channel. Alright, so 5100 is what we're looking for. We are at 59 right now, so I may need you to drop us a little bit more. And we're looking for 4700 actually for that final waypoint, so let's go ahead and change that now. There we go. 4700 is fine. Come down a little bit more. 700 feet per minute should be good. Okay, folks, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Are we going to avoid these windmills? That is the real question. Oh, look, there's a rainbow. Might as well watch the rainbow before our wings get clipped here. Yep, I know what you're thinking there, Bell. That was awfully close. Why did you do that? Well, folks, I'm going by what it says we should be at, and unfortunately, that is not necessarily correct. I told you this airport was challenging, plus having this fog here makes it even more interesting. But we're going to try and see if we can salvage this here and try not to end up in a chicken coop somewhere in Honduras. You know me. Our passengers have no clue what's going on, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. I'll explain when we've landed that, no, that definitely was not a windmill that you saw out there.
At 17. Cleared to land runway 02.
Okay, sounds good.
Cleared to land runway 02 Alpha Golf Bravo.
Alright, but now here's the real issue. I can't see the airport. Like, at all. I am on manual here. I got no airport. I got nothing. Nothing, I say. So we are at 4700 right now. I'm going to give it a little bit more power, and actually I'm going to trim our nose up slightly. There's the waypoint that we were looking for to hit 4700, so I'm going to try and keep us roughly around that altitude, just in case we got a little mountain in the way here, which looks like we may. That's one thing I can always guarantee you folks on this channel is unpredictability. While I will never claim to be a professional pilot at all, I can always pretty much guarantee you'll find something to be entertained with here on the channel as we try to work our way in. I'm thinking back to that one time when we were in Papua New Guinea with the P-38, and I didn't realize that Microsoft Flight Simulator was going to put the thunderstorm literally at our landing airport. Yeah, that was fun. Remember that one, right? That was a blast. I'm actually still shocked to this day that we were able to make it in. Alright, there's our airport. So we're probably going to want to start chopping throttle here. I still have no visual on this airport. Oh wait, is that it? I'm just trying to line myself up with a magenta line here. Okay, I think I see PAPI lights. Holy crap! Out of the murk, there are PAPI lights. I'm going to keep my finger over the spoiler button. And there is someone on the runway. Why are you still on the runway? They gave us clearance. Oh, you're taking off. That's fine. Okay, quick check outside. Welcome to Tegucigalpa. Throttle to idle. Nice. Speed brakes out. Let's confirm. Yep, they are out. And we'll try to stay on the center line here. So this is great. Now, I do not recall if this thing has reverse throttle, but to be honest with you, I don't really think we're going to need it, he says as we pass our exit. But yeah, you can see we're already doing pretty good on our deceleration. So yeah, aside from a couple of Don Quixote moments with the windmill, I would say we did pretty good coming into this, one of the most dangerous airports in the world. Come to think of it, I don't think the windmills were a part of the plan. But we're in, and I'm okay with that. Speed brakes in. Confirm. Yep, they are in, and we are off. Very nice. Very nice.
Contact ground on 121.9er.
Kara, do the honors, please.
121.9er Alpha Golf Bravo.
Okay. So let's make sure we're cleaned up. Flaps are up. Speed brakes in. Landing light will switch to taxi. Strobe lights or anti-collision lights will go ahead and turn you off. Reason why we've got the warning is because I've got the parking brakes on, but we will also get our pitot heat turned off. Okay, let's find us a place to park. Definitely a challenging and interesting approach. And of course, now that we are here in Tegucigalpa, the combination of weather and updated scenery has traded for a little bit of FPS. But yeah, you can see what we were looking at coming in there. Look at that. We've got that nice imposing mountain that basically puts you high on glide slope because, of course, you have to go over it. You can't go through it. And if we were to look outside, we would see that there's an equally imposing mountain on the opposite side. And why is that dude coming in that way? Or is he taking off? I have no idea. Looks like he's landing. Is he going to stop in time? Oh boy, somebody call the news. We may have a runway overrun here. Why didn't you come in the opposite way there, buddy? You know what? You made it, so we're okay with that. Good on you. And incidentally, I can't wait till we've got Traffic Global in this sim. Even though I don't particularly care for, you know, having a lot of airliners and whatnot in the sim. If I'm going to have airliners, I'd like them to be the real airlines. So yeah, definitely looking forward to what Just Flight has coming with that. And I will feature it in every video since that time, unless of course we're flying to a bush strip, in which case you're probably not going to see any AI aircraft anyway. All right, so as we play chicken with this aircraft, let's go back to the outside view for our taxi in. Okay, I was hoping he was going to come in there. I was like, that is an awfully polite AI, but you know what? I think that might actually be a player. I don't have labels on. I typically don't leave labels on unless I'm flying in multiplayer on, say, one of the other Grumpy Simmers live streams, like Sergio or Tristan. But yeah, that is definitely a player. You know how I can tell? Because they're moving forward, then they're stopping. And they're moving forward, then they're stopping, trying to line themselves up with the jet bridge. Good job, though. Good job. I'll give you kudos on that one. Our parking spot is going to be conveniently next to that Beechcraft King Air. So that's where we're going to park it for today. And you can see we've got some AI porters. And again, that is the Asobo model. That is not the Milviz model. The Milviz model does not do that crap where textures disappear. And then we've got the Boeing 247 Delta, which is another aircraft that I've been dying to show you, but really have not gotten around to it. Very hands-on aircraft, but absolutely one of the best vintage birds that you're going to find in this scenery. I can say that without any doubts. And here's our King Air, and we are going to pull in to the right. I think we're looking for parking spot 10. Yep, this is it. All right, and as I pull us in, I would like to thank you, as always, for watching. This has been BelGeode. I have been flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Technically, this is still World Update 10, but Sim Update 9. We have not yet gotten Sim Update 10. That is still in beta testing as of the time of this recording. Hopefully, we will get it at some point in time soon, but yeah, it'll happen when it happens. Right now, it is delayed for another 2 more weeks. Yeah, you know I had to say it at some point. But either way, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this, and if you have, please don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Sorry about the erratic schedule of the flight sim videos. It is more difficult for me to record the flight sim videos, just finding the time, making sure that the technology works properly enough for me to actually record it. So yeah, that's why you get the Skyrim Sundays every Sunday. So try not to kill me on that one, because I know it's something completely different and not what you originally came here for. But it is kind of how this channel all started, was doing those kinds of videos. All right, but now that we are here, let's go ahead and shut everything down. I will remind you, this bird is in beta. This is the Cockspur version of the Cessna 510, C510, the Citation Mustang, as it is more commonly known. And as soon as this aircraft becomes available, I will be doing a little bit of fanfare on it. I'm probably not going to do another video of it. This will be the official video on it, but I will, of course, update the link, so that way you'll have the purchase link in the video description. So look for that. And of course, I will probably reshare this video once the aircraft gets released. You can also check out other YouTubers and live streamers like Avangel and Scoobs, and you can see their take on this bird as well. It is really good. It's really hitting all the buttons for me, pun intended. All right, let's go ahead and turn everything off, and then I will say goodbye. So right engine off, left engine off, standby instruments off. We'll leave the avionics on, because you know how Asobo is with that. They're going to do that thing again where it will try to pull me out of VR and then pull me back into VR, and does a horrible job of it. I really wish they would fix it. I hope they fix it. All right, Kara, thank you very much for flying with me as always. We're going to leave our passengers there, but one thing I will do is I will attempt to get everything else on, provided I can. It's so difficult for me to see what's going on here. Okay, there we go. So chocks, we want you on. Engine covers will leave you off. Pitot covers will leave you off. Red carpet will go ahead and turn on. And I think that's it. So let's go ahead and get out the bird, and I will leave you with the external view. And once again, thank you. This has been BelGeode for another chill video. Low editing, low production, just me and the bird and my raw feelings about it. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will catch you all really soon. Ciao.